Bishop, you have no idea the stuff that happens once that title card goes up behind the scenes.
I don't. I really don't.
Never know. You'll never know the magic, the panic. This is what it's all about, baby. Okay, Bad Blood 1997 inaugural. It's really thought of as a one-match pay-per-view. Heck of a match, nevertheless. But, Aaron, there was a bunch of other things happening there. Why don't you get us started? How do we get to Bad Blood 1997?
We are going to start at SummerSlam 1997, the main event between between Bret Hart and The Undertaker, with Shawn Michaels as the special referee. Of course, as we saw between CM Punk and Drew McIntyre, with Seth Rollins as the referee at SummerSlam this year, who they tried to mimic and they paid homage to this match. We're going to see the finish here. Bret Hart, he attempts to spit at Shawn Michaels. Well, he did spit at Shawn Michaels. Got him pretty good. And then Shawn has a steel chair, and he goes to swing at Bret, but he misses, and he clocks The Undertaker in the head, as seen here. This, of course, would lead to Bret pinning The Undertaker, and Shawn Michaels would have no choice but to count the 1, 2, 3, as he had to call the match straight down the middle, or he would be fired. Bret Hart would retain the championship, and we would go on to Monday Night Raw the next night, where Shawn Michaels would turn heel by turning on the crowd. The crowd was not happy about his actions at SummerSlam, and he had 2 words for him. But
what was it? Can we say it?
Actually, I don't know why. I don't know why I said that. There you go. Let me get some peace. It's too early for DX. But that being said, we do see the formation of DX during this time. SummerSlam was August the 3rd. August the 11th, we see the first time Triple H and Shawn Michaels would share the screen together. Shawn and Mankind would have a main event on Raw, and Triple H and Chyna would interfere in that main event, attacking Mankind. The following week, we would see HBK and Triple H versus Mankind and The Undertaker. And DX would get DQ'd. Well, they will be known as DX. They would be DQ'd when they hit The Undertaker over the head with a steel chair again. Rick Rude joins the group, and The Undertaker, as seen here, is a bloody mess. Do you remember that chair shot? I remember. It was one of those chair shots that I'll never forget, man.
Yeah, I mean, and they don't do them anymore like that, and with good reason. Not to get sidetracked, but there was this past weekend on an AEW show a pretty controversial chair shot, let's say. Unprotected headshot with the chair. What do you think about that?
I think it was obviously gimmicked, the chair, so I'm fine with it. It fell apart right away. I'm okay with it. But cool. These chair shots, these ones back in 97, these are brutal.
Yeah, they weren't gimmicking anything at this point, and yeah. I mean, how is it? I mean, Undertaker's taken a couple of those, right?
Oh, he's taken a few, yeah.
Yeah, and he's dished some out too, for sure. But I mean, he's taken a couple of stiff ones. Yeah, because I mean, even when in SummerSlam, like he got whaled in the head with that. He doesn't seem any worse for wear. I don't know what the big problem is. Anyways,
anyways, yes.
Did we ever do? We never even did unprotected headshots when we were wrestling back in the day, did we?
No, we did unprotected wet floor signs.
Yeah, see,
to the head,
and it made a nice sound. It popped the crowds, and no psychological or any other kind of brain damage noted
that we know of
as of yet. I mean, we are 41 years old and doing a wrestling podcast.
So,
yeah. Hold on a second. Let's see. Do I got anything? Yeah. All right, go ahead.
So this
is what we do. We just throw in sound effects. Go ahead, Aaron. Sorry.
It's okay. The WWF would lead into the Ground Zero pay-per-view. Bret Hart would start a feud with the Patriot, while HBK and Triple H would have to face the wrath of The Undertaker. Shawn and Taker would have a one-on-one match, but it was the no contest. And because of this, we would get the first ever Hell in a Cell match. A cell designed to keep your enemies out and your opponent inside with nowhere to run. And as mentioned, this is probably my favorite match of all time, right behind Rock and Hogan at WrestleMania 18.
Mm-hmm. Yes.
Yeah. So yeah, the match at Ground Zero was just everybody. It was a bunch of interference and stuff like that. You can see Taker jumping over the top ropes here and stuff like that. It was just this is schmaz. So we head to Bad Blood. Look at this poster for Bad Blood. The Taker holding his own head. I never actually got the what is with Taker holding his own head like that.
I don't know. I always took it as like I always took it as like he was so crazy that he didn't care. Like you couldn't hurt him because he
was dead.
He was
dead man.
He cut off his own head to. It doesn't make any sense when you examine it, but I thought it was like kind of supposed to be like a baller, like an insane move, like somebody that you can't hurt because they've hurt them. Now, if I remember correctly, I believe there was a couple of different posters done up where he was holding different people's heads, and then they settled on his. I think there was an HBK one. I think there might have been a Mankind one. Yeah, there was a couple, and then I think for whatever reason they went with Taker. Cool. But yeah, now that you point it out, it doesn't make any sense, does it?
No, not really. But on a sad note, though, for this pay-per-view, Brian Pillman was scheduled to wrestle Dude Love, but unfortunately he passed away earlier in that day, or that night earlier, I guess. It was the night before in Minnesota. So Vince had to reshuffle the deck, and he added 2 matches to replace this one.
Cool.
Yeah, and this is also Vince McMahon's last pay-per-view as an announcer.
Right, yeah. So, which is interesting because I always think of the Kane, that's got to be Kane, as being a JR line, but it's not. I think they re-recorded that or something, did they, after the fact for some stuff, or...
No, that's Vince. That's Vince saying that line. That's probably Vince's last great line as an announcer.
Cool.
But yes, as we get on our way with the Bad Blood pay-per-view, as seen here, we have a 3-on-2 handicap match between the Nation of Domination, Rocky Maivia, Kama Mustafa, and D'Lo Brown versus LOD, the Legion of Doom. There is not a lot happening here since LOD weren't known for the in-ring work, but Kama was never very good, and D'Lo Brown was still green at this point. Rocky, he's still green as well. The fans, they were getting to him with the Rocky sucks chants. But yeah, this match broke down. Farouk ran down to distract the LOD, and Rocky got the pin with the yet-to-be-named Rock Bottom. Basically, it took 4 guys to beat LOD here because they were not going to job. Match was not very good. Moving on to Max Mini and Nova versus Tarantula and Mosaic. The midget match, the small people match. This was one of the matches that were added on due to Pillman's death. This was very basic. Max Mini getting some spots because he was the smallest guy in the match. But yeah, there's nothing of note here at all. He gets the pin and the win for the team. Moving on here, we are going to have a WWF Tag Team title match between the Headbangers and the Godwins with Uncle Cletus. I totally forgot about Uncle Cletus.
Uncle Cletus. How could you do that?
Right. Did you know that Uncle Cletus was actually T.L. Hopper earlier in his WWE career?
Yeah, T.L. Hopper was the plumber wrestler, was he?
Correct.
And what's his name? When I think of the uncle, I always think of Dutch Mantel for some reason, but it's not. Do you know who it is? Who it was?
What for? What, Uncle Cletus?
Yeah, like what's his shoot name?
Oh, I have no idea.
Okay.
Yeah. But like it's Uncle Cletus, I don't know.
Get all your information here at the BWF podcast, right, guys. Yeah. Stuff that you never knew, you didn't know. We are telling you. Go ahead. Sorry.
It's all right. Headbangers, they won the belts a month earlier at Ground Zero, which is a big deal because they were basically losers and jobbers up to that point. But the fans did like them because, they were against the norm. They liked Marilyn Manson. They were
Yes.
just, the counterculture kind of gimmick. The match had no flow, no crowd reaction, and no in-ring work. Godwins were not good. Headbangers were okay with the right opponents, but this was not one of them. The Godwins would win after an ugly power bomb. After that, we are going to get a video package showing all of the people that Steve Austin has given a stunner to while being pissed off about being injured. As you can see here, we have his stunner against Sergeant Slaughter. This is very good stuff back at the time because it was like a breath of fresh air to the WWF product. It was kind of getting kind of stale. But yeah, Steve Austin, man, he reignited something in the WWF product that will probably never be seen again. And next, he would come out for the match between Owen Hart and Farouk, which is for the vacant WWF Intercontinental title. Let's see. I think Ahmed Johnson was supposed to be in this match, but he got injured. So instead we get Owen Hart and Farouk, which is a heel versus heel match. Austin would end up helping Owen Hart get the win, which is kind of confusing to the fans, but it would make sense because Steve Austin wants to get his revenge on Owen for injuring him and take the Intercontinental title away from him. Next is another match that was thrown on because of Pillman's death. It is...
Jeez, how long was that Pillman death? How long was that Pillman match supposed to be?
16 minutes. So the two combined matches were 16 minutes.
Okay.
Including this one.
So they did the little person's match, and then what was this?
The DOA, Disciples of Apocalypse, Crush, Chains, and 8-Ball and Skull versus Los Boricuas, Savio Vega, Jesus Castillo, Jose Estrada Jr., and Miguel Perez Jr. One of the worst feuds in WWF history. They had multiple pay-per-view matches against one another, ranging from singles to 8-man tags, and they all sucked. This was no exception. Crush got the win with his backbreaker, and of course, this did not end this awful feud. But yeah, there you go. Nice. Second last match of the night, we see a flag match between Bret the Hitman Hart and the British Bulldog versus the Patriot and Vader. Crazy how the WWF champion didn't have a title match on the show, but regardless, as you can see here, the flags were placed on the ring posts. And despite the fact that the Bulldog was British, he did live in Canada. He was part of the match.
Yes.
Vader, not the most patriotic guy you think when it comes to America, but
no.
Here we are. This match kind of dragged. But the best part of this match was when a drunken fan decided to enter the ring to attack Bret Hart, I assume, and he got stopped for his efforts by taken out by security.
Wow.
Of course, that's always great.
This is another one, and we sort of talked about how this has been a thing in Bret's career, where it's like they put him in a feud with Jerry Lawler, they put him in a feud with Isaac Yankem, they put him in a feud with the Patriot Bob Backlund. Like they keep, I don't know why, but they kept booking him during his supposed
peak years.
Yes.
Crap
and these
angles,
bizarre, like they couldn't find anybody else. Like, where was Mankind? What was Mick Foley doing?
He was supposed to wrestle Pillman at this pay-per-view.
Oh,
but still,
right, yes, Dude Love. Well, there you go. Anyways, look, it's too late to rebook this. We're not doing a what-if scenario in Aaron Bishop's mind anymore.
No, we're done with those for now.
But yeah, I mean, it was, when you think about how great 1997 was and how good Bret was, there's always this little part here where he gets bogged down with the Patriot, who was not good. The gimmick was ridiculous, and the matches were not great. And it was it's kind of like a bit of a sour note amongst the orchestral 1997.
I agree. Definitely a down spot in an otherwise fantastic year. That being said, the finish came with Hart beating the Patriot with a roll-up. He grabbed the tights because why not?
Yeah.
Backstage, we have an interview with Shawn Michaels, and you can see here all the original DX members: Rick Rude, Chyna, Triple H, and he, as in Shawn Michaels, delivers a very cocky speech where he sarcastically makes fun of the coveted European title and delivers with a very nice line: "Ain't nobody crazy enough to do this gig except for the Heartbreak Kid." We get some awesome visuals of the cage coming down following that. The winner of this match would become the #1 contender for the world title at Survivor Series. Sexy Boy plays, and Shawn is hated by the crowd, while Taker gets a big pop. And here we see Shawn coming down to the ring with Triple H. Shawn in the ring posing. Taker, with the dark lights and the cage around him, looks really cool. The cell, of course, is lowered, and during the Taker's entrance, he lifts his arms up and the lights go on really quickly. Shawn is scared. He's running around the ring. Match starts with Taker stalking Shawn around, and he nails him with a boot to the head. Taker tosses him into the turnbuckle 3 times for a choke slam. Shawn fights back with some stiff punches. Taker whips him into the corner. Shawn will flip upside down and bounce off so he can be drilled by a clothesline. He gets a 2 from Taker. Taker, yeah. I'm going to go through this whole match. I'm sorry. This needs to be done. This is one of the greatest matches of all time.
Okay, yes, Aaron. Come on.
Yeah. Jesus.
All right. We get it. It's your second favorite match of all time.
All right.
Hey, I got a question for you. I really hate to put you on the spot. Do you know where the concept of the Hell in a Cell came from?
Actually, no. Do you?
No.
Why do you do that?
What? Why did I want to see?
Why do you do
your second favorite match of all time? This doesn't even make my top 5.
What? Oh, come on.
It's not even my. I would put it in maybe. Top 10. Not even. So no, I didn't really do a whole lot of research on this. But I can make something up if you want.
I'm assuming it was a Vince Russo idea.
No, yeah,
or a Pat
maybe.
Patterson idea.
I don't know. I mean, it seems like a very basic kind of thing. They probably got it a little bit from War Games, I guess, right? Like the steel cage with the roof on top.
Yeah. It's probably possible. Vince probably took the War Games and thought, okay, how can we make this better? How can we make this more visually better? Because Vince was notorious for hating the War Games concept. He didn't like
which I agree with him on. I didn't like that. I don't like it either. It doesn't make any sense to me. The match doesn't mean anything until the last guy gets into the ring. So there's no point to the first part of the match at all. I agree with Vince. I don't agree with him on a lot of stuff.
No, but this is one. Yeah, no, I agree.
This is one where I'll give it to him. Yeah. Like he's got this whole thing where he likes to poop on people. I do not agree with that.
No.
But I do agree with the Hell in the Cell concept and War Games being stupid.
Nice.
Thank you.
Here you go.
Okay, sorry. Go on, please.
That's okay. So yeah, the crowd actually starts a "Make Him Bleed" chant towards Shawn. We will definitely see that later. Taker will whip Shawn into the ring post again. He punches him into the ribs. Looks like kind of like what a boxer does, hitting a bag in the gym. He picks Shawn up and tosses him around like a rag doll into the ring post again, and into the cell again. Jesus, yeah, it's just a really dominant Undertaker here. Shawn is thrown into the ring steps. Taker sends him into the cage, but Shawn bounces off, ducking a clothesline, and hammers Taker with several punches. As Shawn tries getting Taker inside the ring, he is met by a stunner over the top rope, which Michaels sells as if he were shot out of a cannon. Taker is standing on the apron. Shawn gets up and shoves him into the cage, finally giving Michaels control of the match. And he'll take the ring steps and drive him into the spine of the Undertaker. Shawn will fly through the middle ropes with a plancha, ramming Taker's head into the cell. Shawn climbs up top of the cage and drops an elbow in a very cool spot. Follows that up with a clothesline off the apron. Goes for the pile driver, but he can't get him up, and he almost botches the move. Michaels will actually recover and then deliver a vicious-looking pile driver on the ring steps. It looked awesome. It sounded awesome. The cameraman starts getting in the way, and we can hear Shawn yelling, "Get the F away from me." The cameraman is too stubborn and gets close again, and Shawn starts kicking him and just beats the out of this poor cameraman. At this point, Earl Hebner has to open up the door to the cell and get the guy out, and as he does, Shawn escapes the cage. The excitement is building up as they are outside the cell, and Shawn is in control. The dropkick sending Taker into the cell, but he gets greedy. He goes for it again, and Taker stops him there. At this point, Michaels actually has a razor blade, and he's on his back, and he cuts himself in mid-move as Taker slingshots him.
Yes, classic.
Into the cell, yeah, and it's one of the greatest blade jobs ever. It's crazy how he's able to pull it off so seamlessly, and Shawn is a bloody mess. He will then hit Shawn will then hit a low blow and climb to the top of the cage because it's the only place to get away from Taker. As Shawn climbs, Taker follows him, and the crowd is just getting louder and louder with each step that the Taker takes. Taker hits Michaels with the back body drop on top of the cell to a big pop, follows it up with a face grind into the cage where Shawn actually bleeds onto the camera, which is inside the ring looking up. Really cool.
Yeah.
Then eventually Taker punches Shawn, and he's hanging off the side of the cage, and Taker stomps on his hands, and we hear incoming from Jerry Lawler as Shawn Michaels plummets all the way to the announce table. And this spot is probably shown 700 times in a row, just over and over and over again. It's pretty much the biggest bump in WWF history up to this point. Mick Foley will top it in next year's Hell in a Cell, but up to this point, this is the biggest bump in history. Yeah. Taker.
It still holds up. I mean, even though Mick really goes overboard with his, and he knew that he had to, it's still like an awesome bump.
Oh yeah, it's great. And Taker hip tosses Michael onto the broken table, and blood is just everywhere. JR is saying he's never seen anything like this in his life. He's been broken in half. Taker drags Shawn inside the ring, and they lock the cage for the second time. The crowd is hot. Taker delivers a choke slam off the top rope. Shawn is helpless as Taker brings a chair and absolutely demolishes Shawn's brains with a vicious chair shot to the head, to the delight of the crowd. This is his revenge for the chair shots he took at SummerSlam and on Raw. And as you can see here, it looked awesome. Taker signals for the end, to the delight of the crowd again, but the lights go out. The organ plays. The building is engulfed in red, and there's a familiar person. Through hell, fire, and brimstone, it's Paul Bearer. Oh my God. And it's Kane. Vince with the famous line, "That's gotta be Kane. That's gotta be Kane." Kane rips the door off its hinges, tosses Hebner into the cage, and stares the Undertaker down. Kane sets the ring posts on fire. Taker looks away and is met with a kick to the gut and a tombstone from the Big Red Machine. Paul Bearer throws water on the referee so he can count the pinfall. Shawn crawls on top of Taker out of a pile of his own blood, and he gets the 1, 2, 3. And he gets the title match at Survivor Series. Holy crap. Monumental match in history. 30 minutes of pure awesomeness. As you can see here, Shawn is being dragged away down the aisle, and it's just a bloody mess. This match is the only in-your-house match ever to get a 5-star rating from Meltzer, and he would not give the WWF another 5-star rating for another 14 years until John Cena and CM Punk.
Yeah.
There
you go. Aaron, expert storytelling on that.
Thank you.
Good job. You left it out on the line. It's great.
I hope the fans enjoyed that. Just reading that got me pumped. Go back and watch this match, folks. Go back and watch it. It's on YouTube in its entirety.
Is it? Yeah, the WWE is good for that. They got a lot of their classic stuff up on their website. Hey.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Okay, so anything else to add? I mean, do you agree with the sentiment that it is it's a one match pay per view?
Yes. 100%.
Yeah. The other
Yeah.
matches, none of them are even passable, huh?
God, don't. Yeah. You don't. There's literally not another match on that show that's watchable. It's all garbage, trash. It's all about that main event in the Hell in a Cell.
There you go. Okay, so let's, with that in mind, let's close it up for the Chronicles for another week.